Now, we know you think you know just what you're doing, but be careful with your hearts because something's about to start and it's about to escalate into a war. Remake-A-Thon 2013. It may or may not be true, but it just feels like this year, more than any other, has been packed with HD-ifyings of all sorts of classic titles. DuckTales, Flashback, Castle of Illusion, Wind Waker, Oddworld, Strider. Seriously, Strider. We're stoked to see you again, but was anyone actually asking for this? Was anyone actually asking for any of these? Alright, we'll put our hands up. We've been asking for Wind Waker HD for a long time, and we've always secretly wished Capcom would make a version of DuckTales that actually looks like DuckTales. But on a relative curve, demand for such a thing must have been on the low end. Although, Capcom, if you are taking requests, Demon's Crest. That's all we're gonna say. But what's going on here? Why are so many publishers looking to cash in on nostalgia, especially nostalgia for some pretty obscure names in the first place? Zelda aside, all the games we just listed are from the 90s or even before. A lot of people playing video games today weren't even alive when this stuff was relevant. In the case of DuckTales in particular, it's hard to see just who exactly the new game is intended for. There's been such an effort on behalf of developer WayForward to preserve the gameplay of the NES original, to orchestrate its music, to even reassemble the show's original cast, including 93-year-old Scrooge McDuck actor Alan Young. Side note, if you're 93 years old and still willing to drag yourself into a recording studio to perform what is, let's be honest, entirely unnecessary fan service, you are a legend.
Wait here and I'll be back with the lads lickety-split.
The point we're trying to make here is that all this work has been done for the sake of fans who played the original back in 1989, but the original was, remember, a children's game. It's a lovely game, but you can complete it in under an hour. DuckTales wasn't intended for 30-year-old gamers. DuckTales is one for the youth. But the youth of today unfortunately don't care that Capcom dragged a wonderfully generous retired man in to record new dialogue. They certainly don't care to sit through cutscenes that pad the experience out by around 4 hours. And the 30-year-olds, well, they're too busy playing games for grown-ups. At least DuckTales 2013 is a good game. The new Flashback, a remake from the same director no less, does away with any sense of mystery or suspense and just decides to be a really generic cinematic platformer instead. If you like the original, this is a cheesy and boring insult to your personal taste. And if you've never heard of it, well, why would you care at all?
To a mouse on a mission, they were mere stepping stones to higher things.
Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Michael Mouse, fares much better because A, Sega have preserved what was good about the original, and B, it's a kids game that stars a character kids are familiar with. After last year's spiritual successor, Epic Mickey Power of Illusion, it's nice to experience the real thing, even if the game's faithfulness is ultimately to its detriment, thanks to, well, let's call it vintage difficulty. All these games together form a confusing trend that we're not even sure how to feel about. We think it's great that so many developers are bringing back the classics, but so far the sales of the remakes have only been okay, and the critical reception has been mixed at best. Will we be seeing more of these games in the years to come, or is this just a one-time thing? Has this all just been Remake-A-Thon 2013?